All right, welcome to the relationship show. This one is on the third story analysis I'm doing here. So this guy writes in, he's in a pretty difficult position as far as him emotionally. He's pretty much losing his cool. His girlfriend's leaving him and saying that, we'll get into it here. So my girlfriend told me she does not feel romantic about me anymore, and she doesn't feel anything sexual about men anymore, and she might be fully gay and decided to end things with me. I'm just broken and unable to comprehend what's going on. When you don't know what's going on, when you can't comprehend what's going on, that's not a good sign. It shows you don't understand how attraction works and how women think. Also, sorry about the formatting and my grammar. I'm just too sad to care and am typing this from my phone. So if he's showing his emotions here, like saying he's too sad to make grammar and stuff like that, it shows that he's trying to, one, really get attention here, but also he's probably expressing his feelings to the woman, which really caused him some problems here. Me and my girlfriend have been together in a long distance relationship for the past 9 months, and we have been friends for close to 10 years. So, long distance relationship, they're not seeing each other, and he's probably doing things like over pursuing heavily, expressing his feelings, and then kind of becoming emotionally unglued, like he's expressing in this post here. Everything was going well, but a few months ago, she realized she was bi. I was accepting and have been supportive of her, and I even gave her space to explore. After her first experience with a woman last month, things changed. She was under a lot of stress emotionally and could not understand what was happening with her and what she was going through. I just decided to give her some space, and we agreed she should speak to a therapist about what she was feeling and what she did. So, I mean, if you actually are in like a committed relationship and she's, you know, having like sexual experiences or whatever he's referring to in here, whether it's a guy or a girl, I mean, it's still kind of like, well, it's kind of like she's not really loyal to you and you're far distance and you're kind of acting weak and needy. Yesterday, after speaking to the therapist, she told me that we need to break up and she doesn't feel romantically about me anymore and is finding it difficult to think about men sexually. Okay, well, if that is true, that sucks, but it is what it is. You find another girl. I'm just broken and at so much lost. I don't know what to say or do or how to move on from this. I've never been so invested in a relationship before. This is extremely painful and feels so unfair. Like I can't be with the girl I love so much just because of my gender. No, it's probably not because of your gender. It's more to do with how you're acting, and it's like you're acting really in your feminine essence here. You're not, staying strong, so she tells you she's gay. You're like, well, I respect that, and I respect that. Um, the time that we've had together, and I'm appreciative of that. If that's the way you feel, then I'll be happy to let you go and let you do that. Um, Instead, he is coming unglued. Like this is the most I've ever invested in a relationship. This is I care about her the most ever. Um, and it's his emotions and here and expressing them are just way too much. I know what I'm feeling is extremely irrational, but I am deeply in love, and this just is something I can't process no matter how much I try. So he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know how to respond to it. The worst pain is we spent our relationship in long distance because of COVID, and we are only a month away from meeting each other. I was supposed to fly down to her place end of the month. We were finally going to meet each other and do all the things we had planned for months on doing together. So with long distance relationships, it's important to plan things, maybe like plan like a plane ticket or plan like something an event. But if you overdo it, then it just can come across as way too much too soon. Even though they've been together for 9 months, and he says a lot of the months were spent away from each other. Who's to say how connected she was as far as her feelings to him from the start? And so he's kind of assuming his own feelings are reciprocated from her, but really they're not. Um, I've been waiting for this for so long, and now all my dreams have been crushed. It's like you can't just rely on a woman like that much. You got to be somewhat like self-reliant. You got to have your mission. You got to be happy whether you have her or whether you don't have her. You can't just be like, oh, well, she's the source of my happiness. Now she's gone, and now all my dreams are crushed. It's like it's not a good way to go. While we were together, she was always really into me. She loved me, and still says she does. So just because a woman says that she loves you, that means that she loves you, but in that moment. So it's like if she said, I love you like a couple weeks ago, it meant that she loved you a couple weeks ago. It doesn't mean that she's feeling that right now. So women are more present as far as how they're feeling emotionally in a moment. So if a woman says she loves you, it doesn't mean like from all time on she loves you. It's how she was feeling in that moment. Um, she said, and I quote, extremely attracted to me. Yeah, she might have been, but in that moment. And like we had so much chemistry and affection for each other. Like, how could all this just change? It's just something I can't comprehend. So again, you're saying you're unsure, you're not certain, which is a feminine quality. Like she said, like she had several other relationships in the past with men where this never happened. Why is this happening with me? I don't understand any of this. Well, probably because you became emotionally unglued and she's a little bit freaked out. I'm not mad at her. Like, none of this is her fault, which makes this breakup the hardest one I have ever had so far. It is the healthiest relationship I've ever had, and it's just heartbreaking. So that statement really, I mean, if this is the healthiest relationship you've ever had, it's like long distance relationship, you don't ever see each other, and then you're basically just making like up fantasies in your head on how things are and not looking at the reality of things. It's not a good situation, and you really have to become more emotionally centered, more stable, and then have your mission, and then don't be so attached to just this one girl just because you're away from her, so you have that distance, and then you're just like making up how she's feeling and not looking at the reality of the situation. What do I do? How do I stop hurting? How can I even process this? Should I just go ahead and try meeting her? If she's telling you, we're done, don't, I'm into girls, not guys, and she's like, you don't just force yourself into her life. It's like she basically ended the relationship, and just because you lost out on seeing her that you've been anticipating doesn't mean that you have permission or to force yourself into her life. um how do I cope with this? Is there a chance she is not fully gay and might be interested in men again at a later point? So he can't walk away. And so when you're in that position, you can't walk away. It's a horrible negotiating position to be in. relationships are a lot like negotiations. And if you can't walk away from that, it's as a weaker position, and she's going to notice these things, and she's not going to be attracted to you. And you know, he's like, well, what if there's a chance? Now he's going to put his life on hold in order for a chance to be with her, which is another weak position to be in. And so he just got to let go, man. He's got to, realize that there's much more women out there, and he's got to realize that he's got to get out of this kind of fantasy land of projecting his feelings, thinking that they are reciprocated from the other person. Um, he, if if you constantly express your feelings to your partner, it might work initially and might work for a couple times, but eventually, if you're just always like this emotional head case, then it's like, people, it becomes a burden to the other person. It's almost like they start to resent you, and if they're thinking they have to like mother you as far as like your emotions and have to take care of you, they might like you or love you if it's a long-term relationship, um, but they're not going to be attracted to you. And so it's like, it almost repels the other person. And that's what he's doing a lot in this situation.